what is synthesis? In this video, we're going to examine how synthesis works, what it is, and what it isn't. And this is essential because your literature review is going to be comprised almost entirely of the synthesis of your sources. The lit review is a genre where you almost don't exist. You are more puppet master than you are participant. You are creating and displaying the conversation and the relationships between your sources, pointing out what they do say, and then also, importantly, pointing out what they don't say. And that's what you're trying to get to at the end. You're trying to find the gap, the place where you can fit into this conversation. What are they saying? What are they not saying? So synthesis at its essence is based on forging, naming, and exploring relationships between ideas and elements. Relationships is the important word here. Why do we do it? We do it to make connections between ideas, to apply one or more idea to one or more contexts, to show disagreement among ideas, to combine ideas or concepts, to create a fuller understanding of a concept, to demonstrate a gap in the knowledge. Like I said, that's our main eventual goal for the lit review. And you can also use it to create something new. So what does it include? There are two things you have to have when you are creating synthesis. If you don't have one of these things, then it is not synthesis. The first one, you must have two or more sources in the sentence or paragraph. You clearly cannot synthesize something with itself. And you also have to display that relationship between the sources. And this usually involves a linking word or a relationship word. So there's three different types of relationships sources can have with each other. The first one is that they can agree with each other. For example, Smith and Wesson both found that excessive drinking can lead to lower inhibitions and memory lapses. Right? We have two sources and our linking or relationship word, which is both. They both found this. The other way to do this would be to say excessive drinking can lead to lower inhibitions and memory lapses, and put the sources within a parenthetical citation at the end of the sentence. And this is the simplest way to synthesize sources. You have Smith, comma, 2008, semicolon, Wesson, 2012. And that shows that they both make this or endorse this statement. Sources can also disagree with each other. Jones, 2017, asserts that having a pet can lower a person's stress level. However, there's our linking word, Myers points out that if the pet is not well trained, this can increase stress, right? So we have two sources, they disagree with each other. We know that because they say however. The other thing that sources can do is they can add or expand upon an idea or a finding. So smoking can lead to lung cancer, according to Ellis, Briggs, and Myers. All three of them, we've already got synthesis right off the bat because the three of them agree on lung cancer. And it can cause shortness in breath as well as emphysema. So we have Brown expanding upon the initial statement. We know this because it says and, that's our linking word. And then Otis expands even further. We can see that in our linking word as well as. The other example here is both Dove and Hershey agree that antioxidants found in chocolate can be beneficial. And Dove goes on to say, our linking phrase right there, that a small amount of chocolate can also reduce sugar cravings. So here's a list, and it's very, very abridged. But it's a list of some relationship words and phrases that you can use to connect your sources. You can either pause this right here and grab them, or you can take a screenshot of it. But that is a place to start with those relationship words. And now we are going to look at an example of synthesis. Many problems arise when students participate in binge drinking. We have our topic sentence right there, which is super important. You have to have a topic sentence with your lit review so we know what theme we are talking about in each paragraph, in each section. This, if it was a lit review, this would be our paragraph on the theme of problems that arise from binge drinking. Research has indicated that binge drinkers are more likely to experience blackouts, hangovers, missing class because of drinking, falling behind in their studies, doing something they later regretted, arguing with friends, getting involved in physical fights, and getting into trouble with the police. Binge drinking also, there is our linking word, and we can tell because of this that we are going to add onto that first string of problems with this next information. Binge drinking is also related to engaging in high-risk sexual behaviors, thus putting students in danger of contracting sexually transmitted diseases or having an unplanned pregnancy. And this is according to Ichiyama and Cruz, and also Mehlman, Smith, and Brown. So not only do we have synthesis with the addition of this information, but all of those sources agree that this is true. Moreover, this is another linking word. We know we're going to be expanding upon this idea. Recent research has found that students who report getting drunk frequently have significantly higher odds of being victims of assault than their peers. And this is according to Hensley, Mustaine, and Tewsbury from the year 2000. In the last sentence, furthermore, it is estimated that more than half of the young adults who binge drink on a daily basis exhibit indicators of alcohol abuse or dependency. We have our linking word, our relationship word, furthermore, and it tells us we are also, once again, expanding upon this idea. We're adding to it. So this has a lot of synthesis. It's got many, many sources within it. And the sources, the relationship between the sources is that they are either agreeing with each other or they are building upon this collection of problems that we are gathering within this paragraph. You'll notice that after almost every sentence, except for that first one, you have a citation. Again, this just goes to emphasize the idea that a lit review is all about the research. You are going to have many citations in here, and there will be one after nearly every sentence. If you have a paragraph with either one source, that's clearly a problem, or with very few citations in it, then you want to take a closer look, because there's a chance that you're not synthesizing correctly, because you're going to have a lot of sources in there. So let's look at an example now what synthesis isn't. Many problems arise when students participate in binge drinking. We've got our topic sentence. We're off to a good start. Research has indicated that binge drinkers are more likely to experience blackouts, hangovers, missing class because of drinking, falling behind in their studies, doing something that they later regretted, arguing with friends, getting involved in physical fights, and getting into trouble with the police. Wester et al. Binge drinking is related to engaging in high-risk sexual behaviors, thus putting these students in danger of contracting sexually transmitted diseases or having unplanned pregnancy. Students who report getting drunk frequently have significantly higher odds of being victims of assault than their peers. So we have three sources. We've got half of what we need, but we don't have the linking words, right? So these, we haven't established the relationship between these sources, and so it is not synthesis. This is what I call source stacking or sentence stacking. You've just taken these sources and you've piled them on the top of each other, but you haven't put the cohesive linking words in there to tell us and show us exactly what that relationship is. And that's essential because, like I said, if you don't have those linking words or those relationship words, then it's not synthesis. One more thing I'd like to point out while we are here. If we look at this source here, Wester et al., 1994, this is an example of how you would cite a source with more than 3 authors. Now, the first time you cite this source, you're going to list all the authors that wrote the article, but then from then on, you can just say Wester et al. So, questions to consider as you are writing your lit review and verifying your synthesis, and then also as you move on to the quiz. That's the other part of this assignment. There's 3 questions. So the first one is the relationship between the sources made clear? Are synthesis words or phrases used to link 2 or more different sources? Does the synthesis word or phrase accurately summarize the relationship among the sources? It's not enough just to have the phrase. It must also be accurate. So now you're ready to jump in with the quiz and evaluate whether or not the paragraphs given are, in fact, synthesis.